Hello, Studio Jake fans. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jacob Airy, and I've got a very special guest with me today. I've got Elisha Krauss. She's my fellow writer over at the Daily Wire, and I'm very excited to have her on. Before we begin, though, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and ring that little bell so you get notifications for all my nerd and pop culture topics. Elisha, welcome to Studio Jake.
Thank you. And my baby is also here, but off camera today.
Well, that'll be good for metrics. I'll put baby in the tag, cute baby in the tags, and they'll flock over here, right everybody? But anyway, I'm doing a 3-part series on the Oscars. We've got 2 before and 1 after, and Elisha has graciously was graciously in accepting my invitation to be my first guest. This is her first time on the Daily Wire, on the Daily Wire, on the Studio Jake. She's been on Daily Wire several times.
It's kind of a part of my job description that I have to be on.
Yeah. She's been on, anyway, first time guest on Studio Jake, and we want to get right into it. We've got so many films have been nominated, some of them better than others, and we're going to be talking about the best picture and best directors a little bit. So, and for those of you who know, I did prepare a little bit, although I have only seen, let's see, one of the films that have a best picture nod. I know the gist out of most of them.
So 3 of them, so you are beating me.
Well, that goes to show you, like, College Humor, or no, it wasn't College Humor. It was Seth Meyers did this fake trailer for a movie called Oscar Bait, and one of the things they said was, coming to that theater in that one town that always seems to be going out of business, but somehow hangs on. Like, that is the best way to describe these movies.
Yeah.
Although, so we got Call Me by Your Name, which is about an underage kid who gets seduced by an older man, has Armie Hammer in it.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought the younger man seduces the older man that thinks he's homosexual and then finds his homosexuality.
No, that's a different one. That's the one with Robin Williams that he did post. What is it? He did that was released after his death.
Haven't seen him.
Right. Yes. No. No. Call Me by Your Name. It's about this Italian family. Would be Italian. Now, to me, this movie is sickening on a couple levels because, to me, it normalizes pedophilia. Now, a few defenders of the film have pointed out that in Italy, the age of consent is actually 15, not 18 like it is in America. But that doesn't make it any less creepy.
Yeah, no, and I'm from the land of people getting married at 17 and 18 years old, and I still take issue with that. I'm like, are you really? And so no, 15 is a child. Sorry,
right? Absolutely. And one thing I honestly think, because I've heard of course, the the pandering critics, as I like to call them, they're giving it rave reviews. But I've noticed that outside the little Hollywood bubble, some reviews are like, this movie's actually kind of boring.
Yeah. I feel like that's most movies, though. I mean, I just got watching the preview for Phantom Thread. I was like, what is this about? And
and Phantom Thread's been that's another one on the list, right? Isn't it Best Picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nominated, and Daniel Day-Lewis was nominated for acting for Best Actor in that role for that movie.
Well, and I'm kind of I think this is kind of a mercy pick for Daniel Day-Lewis because he announced his retirement. This is going to be his last film. So I really feel like this is them trying to say, hey, we love you, Daniel Day-Lewis. Because I believe they did the same thing for Heath Ledger, because normally the Academy ignores superhero movies, but they did nominate Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight, Best Supporting Actor, but he did not win. Too bad. He should have won. But that was actually a good pick. And then, of course, we have Darkest Hour, which...
and I've heard it's really good. And I think that Oldman probably will end up winning for actor with that, because didn't he win the SAG Award and the Golden Globe?
Right.
So
yeah, it did.
I'm kind of a average person, even though I live here in LA and have friends that work in the industry. But I kind of feel like typically the other award shows show a trend of what's going to end up happening with the Oscars.
Yeah, I've noticed that, especially with the Golden Globes. They usually are a pretty good indicator.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
And so go ahead.
What's interesting is that I think, I know that they said that producers are saying, oh, we don't want to get it political, but it's going to get political because just look at the kind of movies that were nominated.
Right.
It's inevitable. And I actually thought Oldman's acceptance speech when he got the Golden Globe was brief and appropriate and polite and kind, and it wasn't like political. And I think that both sides of the aisle should be able to understand the man and appreciate the man that Winston Churchill was. But I mean, Call Me by Your Name, all of these other movies kind of have this theme, and of course Hollywood's going to get up there and talk politics. Like, it's inevitable.
Right. And it's like the Post, it's just a way to praise the media, which I think it's kind of interesting because, they did the same thing, which this was actually a pretty good film, Spotlight, with Michael Keaton and Rose McAdams. Mark Ruffalo. That was actually a pretty good film, but it was self-grandizing the media, and the same with the Post. I mean, I like Steven Spielberg. He did go through a period when he was making stinkers like Munich, but I feel like the media, the Hollywood side of the entertainment media, they're like patting the news media on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, we got your back." The news media hid everything that was going on with the abuse in Hollywood.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting, like the juxtaposition of them creating a movie like Spotlight, which was a good thing, and it did disrupt, hopefully, and has changed things within the Catholic Church that were disturbing, disgusting, illegal, and wrong. I don't see anyone producing a movie anytime soon about the level of sexual predatory behavior in Hollywood.
Right. Well, and also too, like the last time there was a movie that criticized the news media was Shattered Glass with Hayden Christensen, and that's the one about the guy who worked for New Republic, who was just telling like all these lie stories, and it actually became they couldn't get it put in theaters, so they made it a Showtime TV movie, and it's actually a pretty good movie. Hayden Christensen, for all the flack he gets for being Anakin Skywalker, he's actually a pretty good actor, and I thought he did a good job as the guy's name is Stephen Glass. Yes. But you won't see that movie nominated at the Oscars. You're going to see films like The Post.
Well, and I have to say, like Dunkirk, out of all of them, well, first of all, aren't there only 9 Best Pictures nominated this year?
I'm looking at them right now. 4 or 5. Yeah, there's only 9.
I thought that there was an allotment for 10 because we've had 10 nominated in the past. And
that's too many.
But I mean, it's like, why not nominate? Sorry, my kid's kicking the laptop.
That's fine.
Why not nominate the 10th one that maybe average people have seen that also might be good? I actually think it's a shame that that Baby Driver wasn't nominated.
Yes.
And that Kevin Spacey was in that movie, but I think it leads to a broader conversation of, one, Dunkirk is the only movie in that list that made over $100 million, and it made like $50 million. I don't think the other ones even came close to $100 million. So the majority of people, and they always wonder, why do Oscar ratings go down? Well, because people in Texas and even, Florida and Georgia and all of normal America have not gone to the movies and paid $12 or $15 to see them.
Right.
So not going to tune in to watch a movie that they've never heard of win. Like,
and it's like, too, that shows to me the that disconnect, because like even 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which I know our own Michael Knowles, he loved it, and same with Lady Bird, he loved Lady Bird. I know Ben Shapiro didn't really care for Lady Bird, but it's kind of like, who actually went and saw those films outside of just cinephiles? I mean,
and gotta love him, or we love to hate him around here, but he is a cinephile. I mean, he's a trained actor. He has friends in the industry. He kind of likes that. But back to the Baby Driver point, I think it does lead to a broader question as consumers. And a girlfriend, Carol Markowitz, wrote a really good piece about this in the New York Post this week. And it kind of talks about the questions that we ask ourselves when we are now consuming this product that bad guys have created, right?
Right.
And so it's like, can we never watch a film ever again that was produced by Harvey Weinstein? Or should it just be, going forward, we're not going to support the new stuff? And with Baby Driver, which I saw after the Kevin Spacey scandal, And I thought, you know, it's still as a whole such a good movie. That first opening scene is so catchy. The soundtrack like is great. The editing is amazing. That, you know, all of the people that worked on that movie, I'm sure there were some people that were complicit and knew and maybe covered up, and they should be exposed and dealt with. But I mean, the grips, the hair and makeup people, the producers, the editors, the other actors in the film, like they shouldn't be held accountable for behavior that wasn't their own. And I think that that's the broader problem. And I think that that's why, yes, the Oscars are going to be political this year, even if they try not to.
Right, and I think that's spot on. Our own Paul Bois wrote an article where he's I can't remember the person's name, but it's a person who's executive producing the Oscars, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Me Too and Time's Up, but outside of that, it's going to be real classy and kind of old school." If that was true, then they would have brought Billy Crystal back to host the Oscars, because I think he was the last really good host.
Yeah.
But no, they're bringing back Jimmy Kimmel, who all he did was moan about Trump the whole time. Well, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
And the pizza, like getting the pizza delivered, or no, that was last year. He brought in the tourists, right?
Yeah, that was his thing.
It could have been hilarious, but it was too awkward. Like it was really like almost cringy awkward.
And I think they did that as just a big publicity stunt. See, we can bring in normal people.
Also, Kimmel is like the head of the late night political leftist thought.
Yeah, he is.
So it's kind of inevitable that he's going to bring something up, and more people in Middle America that haven't watched any of the movies that were nominated will also not watch the Oscars.
It's true, and that brings us to the directors. Only Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk is, like you said, a movie that people actually went. Now, I will correct myself, because I think Get Out is Jordan Peele for Get Out is one of the nominees for Best Picture and Best Director. Now, I've not seen it, but I actually have heard that movie is really good. It's a really good horror thriller film. Now, just putting politics aside on that film, I haven't seen it, so I can't really speak to that. But that I think maybe those two as far as Best Director goes. But we've got Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird. We've got Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, which again, the trailer, I mean, the imagery looks beautiful, but man, I don't care about some old fashion designer from the Victorian era. If we're to talk about Victorian era, I want to see Sherlock Holmes. And then we got, oh, go ahead.
Out did make like $250 million. So.
Oh, it did. Oh, okay.
They nominate that
I'm wrong.
Best Picture.
Yeah.
Actually saw it.
I hear music.
No, it's Vanity Fair or Variety or something, and of course the pop-up ads. Dang those pop-up.
Oh yes.
I just wanted to Google really quick how much money Get Out had made, and I mean, I know so many people in all of my different political circles that saw it and they liked it. I mean, I
okay.
the entire plot of the movie from friends. I've heard people argue on both sides why it's good or bad. But I don't have an interest in. I like to watch sensational movies that don't seem like real life to me.
I'm the same way.
It's hard enough.
Right, and that goes to this point of The Shape of Water, which I've not seen it, but I heard it basically just endorses bestiality. And sorry, I know you have your little baby there. Probably shouldn't have said that in front of it, but in front of her. But this goes back to that where I was watching the new rock stars who I love. I love you guys if y'all happen to watch my channel. But they did a review of The Shape of Water, which is kind of funny because I'm like, this isn't really a nerd movie. Why are you looking over this? But they tried to break down the philosophy and the themes of the film and all this, and I'm kind of like, what is this new trend where every movie has to be broken down to at 75 different layers? I mean, what difference does it possibly make? I know it's art and all that stuff, but I just want to go to the movies to be entertained for 2 hours. It's escapism, and I know that's probably not good, but I'm a millennial, so that's what I do.
No, but I also think there's an element of, whether or not you call it escapism or not, but I think that there is an element that even if you are responsible, law-abiding, decent human being like you are, sometimes we all need a break. We need a sabbatical. We need a day of rest, shall we say? I don't think taking in a movie on that day or for that few hours or something, you know, especially if you're doing it with loved ones and friends, is a bad thing. And I think that I wish we could go back. I mean, I have a 4.5-year-old, and the first movie that she ever watched, and we only showed her the first half because second half, you know, is darker for like at the time a 2.5-year-old to understand, was The Sound of Music. And I mean, you watch these old classics like Rodgers and Hammerstein classics or Disney classics or you know, the original Willy Wonka is so good. And why don't we make movies like that anymore that are enjoyable for the entire family, and that people can have these memories that they hang on to of watching those movies for generations, not just a generation, but for multiple generations.
Well, yeah, it's so true, because the first movie I went to see in theaters was The Lion King, and to this day, it's my favorite Disney film, and I've seen pretty much all of them at this point. But it's hi, how are you? We have a special guest.
Yes, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Applesauce squeeze. Okay.
Hi there. Hi, Stevie.
See you later.
See you later.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Speaking of the wonderful world of Disney, and Mickey Mouse is playing in the other room. So.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, well, even that, it's like, you know, that's one of my best memories. But I remember the first time I went to the movies by myself, just as an adult. I just went to the movies, and I went and saw Predators. And I would not have felt comfortable because, you know, my sister, she likes, I would go to the movies a lot with her, and she likes, you know, cutesy, enjoyable films, but she would not have enjoyed Predator. You know, that's definitely a guy action alien sci-fi movie that you can enjoy, but it's kind of like what you were saying. These movies where the whole family can go, they just don't. They're just almost non-existent anymore.
They really are non-existent. And I thought it was weird. Like for animated movie, Boss Baby was up there, which of course was, I think it was a DreamWorks film that had Alec Baldwin, and a lot of, I think what's cool being a parent now is like I kind of see more animated films, and they do a good job of recruiting celebrities whose voices or personas that we know. But I was not impressed with Boss Baby. It actually was not, I don't think, appropriate for like 4.5-year-old like I have. And it was really detailed, and it was kind of hard to follow, and it wasn't that humorous. And I'm like, why was this nominated for Best Animated Film when there's so many other good animated films out there?
Do you think Boss Baby will win or Coco? My money's on Coco for Best Animated.
I've heard things about Ferdinand, but I haven't seen it yet. Is that on the list as well? But I could.
Yes.
I think that the people that I've talked to specifically that work in animation and have worked on films like that before, I have a buddy that works at Pixar. He said that the visuals of Coco were just really impressive.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I just hear that most of and I think Coco, out of the animated features, I think Coco did the best. I could be mistaken. Boss Baby may have done better, but yeah, because everyone was talking about, because the Lego Ninjago movie came out, and everyone was super excited about that. But I heard that one was pretty lame. Yeah. Compared to Batman and then the first Lego movie. Yeah. So, we're coming to the end. We're on a grand slide. So I'm gonna,
I said everybody's gotten special appearances of me in my Saturday sweatshirt, no makeup, my kids. I mean.
Oh, that's all right. It's always good to have. This is a family-friendly show. This is a YouTube channel that the whole family can enjoy, especially if you're a family loving or a family who loves comic books like the one I grew up in. So, but I'm going to ask for your predictions though. So we've got 9, like you said, for Best Picture. I'm going to scroll up. I have my list right here. I'm going to just run through them so everyone knows, because I don't think we named them all, but we got Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Your prediction, which one do you think is going to win and why?
So Get Out was in that list?
Yes.
I think if the Oscars are more political, Get Out will win. I think if the Oscars follow the trend of the other award shows, 3 Billboards will win. Okay.
I'm going to predict that Call Me by Your Name is going to win. Okay. The reason is, like you said, politics, and I think it's because this will be like last year, because you had Hidden Figures, which was about black women at NASA go up against what was it? Moonlight, which was about a gay black man. And so I'm going to say Call Me by, and homosexuality won that fight. Obviously, everyone thought La La won for about 2 seconds, but it was Get Out. It was Moonlight. So I'm gonna say that Call Me by Your Name is going to win because of that. They still, especially with the huge LGBTQZ -2 movement. So now.
So
go ahead.
Money on this, like $10 to favorite charity.
No, I've learned my lesson with that. For best director, I'm going to predict Guillermo del Toro is going to win for The Shape of Water. Okay. I think it's a vanity pick. They're just going to pick it because it's a real vanity-based movie. Pretty to look at, but what go ahead.
I'm just reminding myself, Dunkirk was Christopher Nolan, Get Out, Jordan Peele, Lady Bird was Greta Gerwig, Phantom Thread, Paul Thomas Anderson, and then Shape of Water was Guillermo del Toro. So you think those are all director. So you think Del Toro's going to win?
I do because I just think because despite what I think about his films, they are visually stunning. And so I think that's going to be a little hard for the Academy to ignore. So I think it's going to be just a vanity pick.
I actually think it's going to be a political pick. I'm going to go with Greta Gerwig.
Oh, okay. All right. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Elisha, where can people find you?
At Elisha Krauss on Twitter. Been getting lots of hate over there. So some nice follows would be nice. And also, of course, at the Daily Wire.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at RealJacobArea. My blog is jacobarea.blog. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring that little bell. Next week is part 2. We'll have Stephanie McWilliams of Halsey News and The Right Millennial right here on YouTube. We're going to be continuing this conversation about the Oscars. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.